אוקיי. בשם השם נעשה ונצליח. והנה עם אדוני אלוהינו, עלינו מעשה ידינו כהנה, עלינו מעשה ידינו כהנה. So ערב טוב everyone, בעזרת השם יתברך, we will prepare ourselves to Shavuot today. The shiur is about Shavuot, but mainly I want to focus on milk. We know that we eat dairy on Shavuot, and eating dairy on Shavuot is a minhag, it's a custom. And in Israel at least, people make a whole big deal of it. Some people even think that Shavuot is, it's all about milk. It's all about dairy, it's all about eating cheesecake. But we have to know that first of all, Shavuot is mainly about receiving the Torah. Toda Rabbi, thank you. We got the Torah on Shavuot, and that's why we celebrate. The Torah is the most important book that humanity could get. Directions of life, instructions of life, and basically the mission that each one of us needs to do is brought down in this book, Torah, and we received it on the day of Shavuot. Now, on the day of Shavuot, we also have other customs. There is a custom to stay up all night, right? Why we stay up all night? They say that Am Yisrael, when God told them that they're going to receive the Torah, 3 days before that, they needed to prepare themselves. Now, they prepared themselves so much, they were not sleeping those 3 days. And because of that preparation, at the day that they needed to receive the Torah, they all fell asleep. You know, sometimes it happens. You put too much on the preparation, then at the end, you fall asleep. It reminds me a story of there was a Chassid, a Gur Chassid. You know what's a Gur Chassid? There's different Chassiduyot, groups of Chassidim. So there's Vizhnitz Chassidim, there's Chabad Chassidim, there's Breslov Chassidim, there's Gur Chassidim. And the Admor from Gur, he had a student that every day from the first day of Elul, he was doing slichot. Now, usually Ashkenazim don't do slichot from the first day of Elul. But he did. He was preparing himself to Yom Kippur 40 days before. Every day waking up very early in the morning. And he was preparing himself so much. You know what happened in Yom Kippur? Somehow, he fell asleep. But there was something interesting. He fell asleep, and he came very late to synagogue. Like after Musaf, which is like middle of the day. Even after that, close to Mincha. And then, for him, it was such an embarrassment to come to the shul, to the synagogue. At that time, on Yom Kippur, everybody will look at you and like, well, what's happened with you? Yom Kippur. But he still came. And when he came, the rabbi, the Admor from Gur, he stood up to escort him. And nobody understood why. But at the end of Yom Kippur, he told them, you know why I did that? Because a person that falls, he has this usually evil in him that says, you know, you're already late, so stay home. But he said, no, I'm going to come. I will get the embarrassment, the look of people on me. Because of that, the rabbi said, I will stand up for him. He deserves that. So anyway, Am Yisrael fell asleep. They fell asleep on Shavuot, and that's why we stay all night. We have other customs on Shavuot. Do you know that there is a custom to bring flowers to the synagogue on Shavuot? It's actually a good thing to do. If you have some flowers, or go get some flowers and bring it just for beauty. You make the Bet Knesset, the synagogue, more beautiful. It's a mitzvah to do so for the holiday of Shavuot. And this is, again, there is a Kabbalistic reason for that, but the simple reason is because they say that all the Mount Sinai, when we received the Torah, somehow even Mount Sinai was in the desert, it was all full of flowers. There was a miracle. So remembrance for that, we also bring flowers to the synagogue. So there's a lot of customs that we have on Shavuot, Rabotai. Now, there is another custom. By the way, there is a custom also to spill water on each other. Do you know this custom? In Israel, they do it, all the kids. It's actually a custom that is written. There's a whole question if it's proper to do. Just to take water and spill on your friend, it's not nice. But there is a source for that as well. Of course, we have to do it. If we do it, that custom, we have to do it properly so someone doesn't get offended. But there is a custom like that. So there's a lot of customs on Shavuot. One of them is to eat dairy. And we all like this custom. Baruch Hashem, it's unique. Every holiday, we eat meat. On Shavuot, all of a sudden, we can eat also dairy, something unique. Now, first of all, before we continue, and today's class is going to be especially about milk. I want to speak about the secret of milk. How milk helps us in life. Milk is healthy or not healthy. Spiritually healthy or not healthy. What milk symbolizes according to Kabbalah. But first of all, we have to know that on Shavuot, you don't have to eat milk all meals of Shavuot. Actually, you don't have to eat milk at all if you don't want to. It's just a custom. So, we eat dairy on Shavuot. However, we also have to have at least one meal on Shavuot that is with meat. Because it says that we have to be happy on a holiday. Every holiday you have to be happy. And one of the things that make us, human beings, happy, it's meat. Yeah? What nice to have a nice tomahawk steak, huh? Baruch Hashem. Meat. And meat, when I say meat, it's not chicken. Chicken is okay, it's nice, yeah. We had a schnitzel, it's a nice schnitzel. But meat gives you happiness. Achon Max? Happiness. Yeah, you like it? Yeah. What? Oh, yeah? For how long? 3 years vegetarian. Why? Kol hakavod. But on holidays, we need to eat meat. Our sages, by the way, Rabbi Chaim Palaj, they used to not eat meat also during the week. But they would eat meat on holidays, on Shabbat. Why? Because they wanted to elevate the holy sparks that are in the meat and the souls that reincarnate in the meat. And this is you can do the best on a holiday, because on a holiday your neshama, your soul, goes to a higher level. So anything you will eat will be fixed better. That's why it's good, it's a mitzvah to eat meat on those days. So Shavuot, you need to eat meat. So where is the dairy? One of the meals. You can eat dairy. Some people even do the same meal. They eat dairy. And after that dairy meal, they eat, let's say they eat cheesecake. Then they wash their mouth. And after that, they eat meat. We will speak about it, how it's possible. But just to know, we eat meat also on Shavuot. Now let's go inside a little bit more deep into the customs of eating dairy on Shavuot, and from there we will understand what's the secret of milk in general and eating dairy. So there is few reasons why we eat dairy on Shavuot. There is the main reasons, and there is the hints that our sages teach us. Now, just to know, the Ben Ish Chai has a book on Agadah Shel Pesach. In the book of Agadah Shel Pesach, at the end, he speaks about Shavuot. He gives there like maybe close to 40 reasons why we eat milk on Shavuot and what's the connection between milk and Shavuot. Other rabbis also give a lot of reasons what's the connection between milk and Shavuot. I'm going to tell you a few of them right now. One of them, very simple. Milk in Hebrew called chalav. Chalav, the numerical value of chalav is 40. Chet is 8. Lamed is 30. Bet is 2. So chalav comes to 40. Now, 40 It corresponds to the 40 days that Moshe went up. On Shavuot, Moshe went up to heavens to bring the Torah. So right before he went up, and he received, God came down and said the 10 Commandments. And then Moshe Rabbeinu went up for 40 days. So the Torah was given to Moshe Rabbeinu fully after 40 days. The connection between the day of receiving Torah to milk is the Torah was received by 40 days, and milk, the numerical value of milk is 40. So here already we see a certain connection. That's one reason. Second reason, that's the classic reason that everybody knows. When we received the Torah, we had a big problem. Why? Before receiving the Torah, we could eat anything. Let's say you wanna eat meat, so you go, you kill the cow because you have to kill it. Yeah, Adam HaRishon already got one of the 7 mitzvot. The Noachide mitzvot is to not eat an organ of an animal before killing it. It's not proper. So you have to kill it first, and then you can eat it. It's fine. So Am Yisrael could just slaughter any cow, any lamb, and eat. But when they received the Torah, now it's not so simple anymore. Why? Now you have a halachot. You have laws of shchita. You have laws of how to make the knife. You know, I learned shchita. I learned to be a slaughterer maybe 12 years ago. And just to sharp the knife in the right way, it takes about 20 minutes. It's not easy. Yeah. But then after every slaughter, if it's a cow, you have to check it again. That's why shochatim, they have a certain nail that they grow. Usually we don't grow nails. But there's 2 people that do grow nail. 1 nail. Mohel, he needs it for also the Brit Milah. And the slaughter, the shochet, he also grows a nail. Why? With the nail, we check the knife. Because the knife has to be sharp and smooth. Even one small hole in the knife makes the knife non-kosher, makes the whole animal not kosher. So the rules of shchita, how to slaughter, are a lot. By the way, this is why the meat is very expensive. A lot of people ask, hey, Rabbi, what is this? Those rabbis, those Jews, they just want to make money on us. Why the meat is so expensive? I can't afford meat. I hear them. It is expensive, but there is a reason why it's expensive. If you want to make, let's say you don't have all the Jewish rules for meat, you can cut, let's say, 150 cows a day. But if you have all those rules, you can cut only, let's say, 80. So, first of all, why? Because every time you slaughter, you have to check the knife. Now, not just you have to give someone else to check the knife. So now you have to hire one guy that his job is just checking knives. The guy needs to get $5,000, $6,000 a month just for checking knives. This is an expense that other nations don't have. Then we have a blessing that we have to do. We have rules of checking the animal. We have to check if the lungs are good. We have to check different organs. We have to see that it's kosher. We have to salt it. We have to wash it. We have to cut certain fats that we're not allowed to eat. Chelev. All this, you have to hire people. Also, the one half of the animal here in Chutz La'aretz, not in Israel, we're not allowed to use. We have to give it to the non-Jews. So there's so many complications and people that we need to hire, mashgiach, someone that is supervised, that see that everything is okay. And that's why it's more expensive. Now, all those rules were basically given to Moshe Rabbeinu after he went up. He got all the details how to make kosher meat. Am Yisrael just received the 10 commandments and they received the Torah. They already knew what the Torah talks about. They knew, okay, from now on we have to eat kosher. Before that, no. Now they have to eat kosher. The problem was that they didn't know the details of the laws because it's just the first day. That's why they just said, okay, we cannot eat meat because we don't know how to slaughter, how to check the knife, how to do. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't explain that yet. We just know that we have to do it in a certain way. So what did they come up with an idea? Let's eat dairy. Dairy has no complication. If the cow or whatever, the goat is kosher, whatever comes out, it's kosher. Milk, you don't need to kosher it. You need to supervise it, but just if the Jew does it, and maybe we're going to speak about the milk that Jew was not supervising. It's called chalav nochi. It's called a not Israeli milk. We have chalav Israel milk. Israeli milk means not Israeli from Israel. It means that a Jewish milk, was there when they were milking the cow. And there's not chalav Israel milk, which is a milk that was milked by other nations, and we don't know what's happened with that milk. And we have a doubt about it. So there's a whole section in Torah that discuss if this milk is allowed or not allowed. Maybe we're going to speak about it today also. So because Am Yisrael didn't know if the milk is, how to make the meat kosher, they received the Torah today, but they don't know all the details. They didn't want to take a chance. They said, let's eat dairy. Because of that, on Shavuot, Am Yisrael ate dairy. We're going to eat dairy as well. That's one reason, and it makes sense. There is another reason that even more interesting. They say that our nation didn't eat, in general, Jews before Mount Sinai didn't drink milk at all because they thought it's prohibited. Why is it prohibited? Because Hashem told Noach 7 mitzvot. One of the mitzvot that you're not allowed to eat anything from the animal before you kill it. So technically, milk that comes from the animal could be also something that we take from the animal without killing it. The animal suffers from it. So they were holding that milk is not allowed. That's why they were not eating milk, not drinking milk. When was the first day they drank milk and they ate dairy? It was in Mount Sinai when God told them, Eretz zavat chalav udvash. I'm bringing you to the land of milk and honey. Hey, milk? Is that allowed? Yes, honey. It is. You can get it. Because it's not considered ever minachai. It's not considered a part of the animal. It's a produce of the animal. They were so happy, they were just wanted to only eat dairy things. So that's another reason why we eat dairy on Shavuot. Another interesting reason, they give us a nice hint. Do you know how many mitzvot we have in the Torah? We have 613 mitzvot. Okay? Now, there are rabbis that they made books putting in order all those 613, because all the 613 are all around the Torah, the Bible. They made a book, it's called Sefer HaMitzvot, the Book of Mitzvot. The Rambam has one. Sefer HaChinuch, there are other that has. Then if you count according to the order of the mitzvot, what mitzvah in the Torah we have that is connected with milk? We have one mitzvah that is connected to milk. What is the mitzvah? From the Torah. To not mix milk. Okay, לא תבשל גדי בחלב עמו. To not mix milk and meat together. Jews not allowed to eat milk and meat together. They're not allowed to cook, even if you don't eat. Let's say you are a chef. Or someone asks me, Rabbi, can I work in McDonald's? I'm not eating. I just want to work there. And McDonald's. You're not allowed to. Why? Because you have to mix milk and meat. You cook it. It's a problem. Also, a non-kosher restaurant. They tell you sometimes make a steak on butter. You can't. But I don't eat it. I give it to someone. It's not Jewish. You cannot cook it. Cooking it, it's also we learn it because it says 3 times in the Torah, don't mix milk and meat. Why does it say it 3 times? To tell you, 1 time, to prohibit eating it. 2nd time, they prohibit cooking it. 3rd time, the prohibition is to even enjoy it. Let's say now, I don't know, you got a pizza. They came to your house, knock on your door, and they gave you a pie of pizza with pepperoni. Did you order? No, I didn't. What do you mean? It says here, come, take it. It's yours. They gave it to you. Okay, what am I doing with this? Oh, I have neighbors. They're not Jewish. Can I give it to my neighbors? Adro. You're gonna, how are you gonna enjoy it? Right, they would want to give you a favor back. You just gave them a pizza. So you technically somehow enjoy milk and dairy and meat mixed. It's a problem. You can't. Also, let's say at home you were cooking something. You were making a steak, and by the mistake, you don't know how, you cooked it with you thought it's margarine, but it was butter. And then you realize that you can't eat it. Okay, can I give it to my neighbor? No. Can I give it to the dog? No. So what am I doing with it? You have to throw it away. Why? Torah is so strict about not mixing milk and meat. You cannot even enjoy it. 3 times it says it in the Torah. Now, saying that, so Sefer HaMitzvot, the book of mitzvot, it says, what number of mitzvah in the book of mitzvot from the 613 is this mitzvah of not mixing dairy and meat? If you see in the book, it's number 66. Interesting number, 66. Now, Torah was given on Shavuot. Shavuot was the 6th day of Sivan. Today, by the way, Rosh Chodesh, Chodesh Tov to everyone. In 6 days, 6th day of Sivan, it's going to be Shavuot, Sunday night. So, 6th day of Sivan. The beginning of the calendar, the Jewish calendar, when is it? We start the calendar from Rosh Hashanah, from Aleph Tishrei. But technically, the beginning of the calendar, you know when should it be? Nisan. Hashem said, this month of Nisan, it's the first month of the year. Rosh Chodashim, Rishonu Lachem Lekol HaShana. So, by the Torah, first day of the year is Nisan. From Nisan until Shavuot, how many days we have? 66. To tell you that the 66th day of the year is Shavuot, and the 66th mitzvah is a mitzvah of milk, has a connection, milk and Shavuot, that's another connection of milk and Shavuot. Okay? So there's a lot of connections like that. But today, I want to discuss something a little bit more deep, more higher. Okay? Pay attention now, because this is like, we're going deep now. Until now it was just ככה, כן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. As I always said, put your seatbelts. There is another reason why we eat milk on Shavuot, and this reason will reveal to us the secrets of milk and dairy. What is the reason? There is a midrash. a midrash that say, interesting story. The midrash say when we received the Torah, Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, he went up. When he went up to receive the Torah, there was a problem in heavens. The angels came up to God and they told God, God, please don't bring down the Torah. The Torah is holy. The Torah, the information of the Torah should stay up in heavens. That's the place. The people down there don't deserve to get such a holy thing. It should be staying with us, with the angels. That's the claim of the angels. The Midrash says that God answered them back and he told them, shame on you. You asking such a thing? You remember when you went down to Avraham Avinu. Avraham, after he did circumcision, 3 days after that, he was in pain, but he wanted to have guests because he always had guests. And he was looking for guests and there was no guests. God provided him with angels that came down to be his guests. Then those angels told him about that he's going to have a son and all the story. It's brought down in Parashat Vayera in the Torah. Those angels, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, 3 angels, they went down to Avraham Avinu. They looked like human beings, but they were angels. It says that when Avraham saw them, he was so happy, he right away went to make food for them. And it says clearly in the Torah that he gave them first to eat chem'ah, which is butter. So he gave them dairy. And after that, he gave them to eat egel. Yeah, he gave them a tongue of a calf. That's what they ate. Says God, shame on you, angel. You asking the Torah to stay in heaven and they don't deserve it to be down. You, when you came to Avraham Avinu, you broke the law of Torah and you ate milk and meat together. Avraham Avinu gave you butter and then he gave you meat and you were mixing it together. That's the answer of God to their claim. Okay? Now, I had few questions on this midrash. This midrash is very weird. First of all, what's the connection? The angel asking Hashem, we think the Torah is holy, should stay up there, should not be down, given to human beings. How does you telling us, shame on you, you were eating milk and dairy, how can you, what's the connection? We eat meat and milk and meat, and because of that, you don't accept our claim that the Torah will stay up. What's the connection? Second question is, if you look, they didn't really do any prohibition. They ate dairy, and after that they ate meat. According to halacha, if you eat meat, you have to wait 6 hours until you eat dairy. But if you eat dairy, do you need to wait 6 hours? No. So how much you need to wait? 3 hours? Not right. You don't have to wait at all. You can right away eat meat, just one condition. You have to wash your mouth and maybe eat something. Why? Because by eating something, maybe something is stuck in your teeth. Right? So, or brush your teeth. And if it's stuck in your teeth, it's a problem because then you're going to eat the meat. And after that, this thing that's stuck is going to come down. And then you ate basically the milk after the meat, which is not allowed. So if you wash your, let's say now you want to drink milk, okay? And then Baruch Hashem, your wife or someone prepares the steak. You smell the steak, you really want the steak, but you just drink milk. No problem. Go wash your mouth. Eat something, bread, apple, whatever it is, something that is going to be in between, and go eat the steak. That's the halacha. So what's the problem with the malachim? What's the problem with the angels? The angels did okay. The angel ate dairy, and after that they ate the meat. So why Hashem tells them that they made a shame on you? You broke the Torah law. They didn't break any Torah law. That's the questions about the Midrash. To answer this Midrash, we have to understand the secret of dairy. Every food, everything in this world symbolizes a certain spiritual power. Meat, God created meat red. Why is it red? Because meat symbolizes a certain power, a power of judgment, a power of limitations, dinim. There is two powers in life. It's called kindness and judgment. The whole world is built from it. Love and fear. Those powers, the whole world is created by them. Meat symbolize the power of judgment, which also can be good, but mainly the power of judgment is the power of the negative side. Dinim is the negative side. That's why when someone has problems in life, why does he have a problem? Because the dinim affect him. The negative powers, judgments. Something is din. But kindness, it's the opposite. It's good. Chesed. Milk is white. Symbolize kindness. The meat is red. Symbolize judgment. The meat, you cannot eat it the way it is. You need to cook it. Why? Because it's din. You have to sweeten it by cooking, so it's going to be okay to eat. The milk, you can eat it right away because it's kindness. It's ready the way it is. Now, when we take those two items of food and we combine them together in this world, you know what's happening? Always the judgment in this world is stronger. And that's why the judgment will be overcoming the kindness. And then the kindness will basically become a part of judgment, which when we do it in this world, in the upper worlds, it's ruining the worlds because it makes the negative powers stronger than the good powers. That's why every time you mix milk and meat, a Jew mix milk and meat, he basically makes the dinim, the bad powers, overcome the good. And that's the opposite of the goal of life. The goal of life is to overcome the bad powers, the evil power, the Yetzer Hara. That's why mixing milk and meat is so bad. It says in the Zohar Kadosh that if a person eats meat and dairy together, or right after each other, he has a certain impurity that stays on his face for 40 days. Spiritual people can even see it. And they say that if he's going to have kids in those 40 days, make kids in those 40 days, those kids will have very, very bad character traits because of that impurity that stays on him. And it doesn't say this about any other law in the Torah, only about mixing milk and meat. And there's a lot of people in our days that were born in that way, and they don't understand why it's so hard for me to overcome my evil inclination. Why it's so hard for me to not get angry, to not be jealous, sometimes it's because they were created like this. Now, it doesn't mean they can be also like Moshe Rabbeinu. It's going to be just harder for them. Why? Because, the parents' effect. I once said this thing in another lecture in Hebrew. So someone in the audience, they asked me, so what? It's not his. It's not the kid's problem. It's his parents. I said, you're right. So why he is suffering because of that? So I told her that it's also his problem, because when his parents got together and they brought a soul, because they didn't bring a high soul, they brought this soul. And that kid's soul was already from past life problematic. That's why it came. You understand? So basically, he needed to be like this because of his past life. That's why they sent him to these parents. But if they would not eat milk and meat, at that day, they will bring a higher soul. So basically, we see that milk and meat together is basically ruining the upper worlds and bringing impurity to the person that eats that. Because the judgments overcome the kindness. And that's why so why we can eat milk after, why can we eat dairy? Sorry, why can we eat meat after dairy and we cannot eat dairy after meat? Both of them are, we said, problematic. So here, there is another rule that we need to know. There is a Gemara in Masechet Pesachim, page 76, that talks about a Jewish law. It's called Tata'a Gavar. Tata'a Gavar, it's in Aramaic. It means that anything that is in the bottom always overcome the top. So for example, let's say in Shabbat, we need to keep Shabbat, right? One of the laws of Shabbat is we're not allowed to cook. Okay? Now, what is cooking on Shabbat? Let's say now I have boiling water and I add water to that boiling water. I am cooking. Shabbat. Is it considered cooking? Boiling water on the plata. And I take cold water and I add to the boiling water. Am I cooking? What am I cooking? The cold water, now it's going to start boiling. So I am cooking. Doing this on Shabbat, it's breaking Shabbat from the Torah. Okay? Now, let's say I have very hot, boiling water. I just took it out of the plata. Okay? But it's still boiling. It's still very, very hot. If I take the cold water from the top and I put on it, the cold water is going to cook, right? So I'm cooking. Why? Because the bottom is boiling. And the bottom is stronger, overcomes the cold that's coming from up. If they have the same amount. Even if you took it off the plate? Yes. But what if it's the opposite? Let's say I have a lot of cold water. And then I pour boiling water from the top. Am I cooking? Huh? Why I'm not cooking? Because the bottom is cold. And when the top is boiling, but the bottom cools it. You understand? So the rule is whatever is in the bottom always overcomes. Always stronger. Tata'a, the bottom, gavar is stronger. Okay? Steve, okay? So now you know on Shabbat. Now, this rule also applies to milk and meat. Because there is a rule that the bottom always overcomes and stronger, if now I eat meat and then I eat dairy, what happens? Who overcomes? The meat overcomes because it's the first. It's in the bottom. That's why we're not allowed to eat dairy after meat. Only after 6 hours when it's already gone. But if I eat dairy and then I eat meat, who overcomes? The kindness overcomes the judgment. So it's okay. And that's why it's okay. So dairy and then meat, it's fine. Why? Because the bottom overcomes the. Now we will understand why God told the angels, shame on you, that you ate dairy and meat together. And you made a prohibition. You broke the law of Torah. How come? We said they didn't break the law of Torah. They ate dairy and then they ate meat. It's okay. But God tells them, if you say that the Torah should stay in heaven, what does that mean? It means that the heavens is stronger than the bottom. Torah is very holy. It should not be in the in this world. It should be up. It means that the top for you, according to your vision, the malachim, the angels, the top is stronger than the bottom. So if the top is stronger than the bottom, when you came to Abraham and you ate first dairy and then meat, what was on the top? The meat. So according to your vision, you did a prohibition. That's why God told them, you cannot claim, oh, we want the Torah to stay in heavens because heavens are more strong, more important, more holy than the earth. Because if you claim that the heavens, the up, is stronger than the bottom, you are in a problem of breaking a Torah law. So if you want to not break a Torah law, you better also want the Torah to be down. That was the answer of God to them. So this is an interesting thing, but the bottom line that we got from here, now we understand the spirituality of those two items, meat and dairy. Meat and milk. Milk is kindness, is chesed, and meat is judgment. Now we also understand why we're not allowed to mix it together. But there's another thing. There is also another type of milk. It's mother's milk. That's how you call it? Chalav em. Yeah, breast milk. This milk, by the way, it's parv. Yeah. It's not dairy. It's parv. And this milk is basically the strongest, we can say the holiest, and the most healthy milk that exists. That's why Hashem made it that the baby that needs this, the vitamins and needs the spiritual growth also of his soul, he made Dafka, the mother, giving this to the child. And there's a lot of secrets in this milk. They say that there's a big difference. If you see the cow's milk, it comes from a place that is very close to the legs of the cow, because the milk comes from the bottom. In a woman, the milk comes from her top, from the breast. Why? It symbolizes the quality and the high level of that milk. That's why they say that all the character traits of the child are very depend on the milk that he was drinking. Rabbi Nachman has a Torah in Likutei Moharan in his book that says that if the mother is a very righteous mother, she has good character traits, she's very calm, doesn't get angry. A good mother, yeah, a good person, kind, giving, not selfish. All those things are transferred with the milk to the child. And if chas v'shalom, it's the opposite. If the mother, chas v'shalom, Rabbi Nachman called chatzufa. You know what's chatzufa? How do you say chatzufa? Rude. Rude mother. You know those who always curse, always say, put down people, you know? Machshefa. Yeah. Someone that doesn't have good character traits. You know, she didn't work on herself. He says her milk, it makes this child also with bad character traits. And especially in anything that has to do with desire to women, if it's a boy, or desire to men. Yeah. It means those children that cannot control their desires, they always look for more wives, let's call it like that, or more husbands, looking at other, cannot control themselves. It's very dependent on the milk they drink. That's what Rabbi Nachman says. Now, it doesn't mean that they cannot overcome it, but this gives a big, big responsibility to the mother. Mamash. You know, there is a story about Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was the chief rabbi of Israel. He wrote the Mishnah. Now, when he was born, there was a decree by the Caesar that whoever is going to do circumcision and other things of Judaism will be killed. The father of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was also the chief rabbi of Israel. He didn't care. Circumcision is a mitzvah. And he made a circumcision to his son. Someone heard about it and told the government that the chief rabbi just did a circumcision against the law. They call him in to check if it was done. And if yes, they will kill him and all the family. They come to the palace. They had such a, believe in God. Hashem Ya'azor. On the way to the Caesar, there was one of the family of the Caesar that she also had a child. Same age, few days. She told him, they're going to kill you now. Let me help you. Let's switch the children. You take mine, I take yours. You show it to them. They will see that there is no circumcision done. They will send you home. Then we'll switch it back. They were very grateful to her, and they did it. They took that not Jewish child. She took Rabbi Yehuda, and Baruch Hashem, they were saved. The problem is that children, babies, need to eat. And back then, they didn't have a Similac. So you have to breastfeed. So the child, by the hands of the mother of Rabbi Yehuda, he was crying. So she gave him milk. Rabbi Yehuda didn't want milk. He didn't drink for her. It's very similar to the story with Moshe Rabbeinu. Yeah, Moshe Rabbeinu, and they found him in the Nile, so they gave... Batya she brought few ladies, she told him give him milk. He didn't want to drink from anyone. Until they brought her mother. She was drinking milk from his mother. So, Rabbi Yehuda didn't drink, but the other guy drank. This guy, after years, he became the Caesar of Rome. And he was very connected to Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. And in the end, he also converted to Judaism. He was coming every day. He made a whole tunnel from his house. His name was Antoninus. Some say it's Marcus Aurelius, those who know history. It was in the Gladiator movie. That was the father. So he made a tunnel from his house to Rabbi Yehuda's house. Every day he would learn Torah secretly until he converted. He made a circumcision, everything. Our sages say, do you know what made him switch and convert to Judaism? That milk. This few milliliters of milk that he drank from the mother of Rabbi Yehuda Nasir, a righteous mother, affected his soul. Stay there, that energy. By the way, there is a very similar story with another rabbi, Elisha ben Avuya. Elisha ben Avuya was a great rabbi. Unfortunately, he got to very high levels, but then he decided to leave everything. And he went off the derech, what we call today. Started to break Shabbat, divorced his wife, went with other ladies, completely off. Now I'm talking about people that were in the level of Rabbi Akiva. He was Rabbi Akiva's friend. So the Torah, the Gemara, he was Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes rabbi. And he went off. Now, there is a question in the Gemara, what made him? So they give a lot of reasons that slowly made him do it. He believed in God. At the end, he also believed in Torah. He just thought that after what he did, he doesn't have a way back. That's why he didn't come back. Some say that before he died, he was crying and he was doing tshuva, he was doing repentance, but after he went off the derech, after that, he thought, that's it. What I did, I don't have a way back. That's why it was very hard for him to come back. Now, but what made him go off the derech? What made him go off the Judaism? You knew all the secrets. They say that he was one of the 4 people that saw the world to come. They made Aliyat Neshama. You know what's Aliyat Neshama? When you take your soul out of the body and you see what's happening in the upper worlds. He wasn't that level. He saw the angels, which was one of the problems that made him do what he did. He saw something there that he didn't understand, and he just said, okay, I don't want to do it anymore. But what was the beginning? They say that his mother, one day, when she was pregnant, she was going on the street and she smelled a good steak. Very good steak on the barbecue. In the church, not church, but the Avodah Zarah, they had a celebration, and it was Yom Kippur. And she couldn't handle it. She said, okay, I can't. I feel that I'm gonna faint. And she went and she ate that steak while being pregnant on Yom Kippur. They say that this steak on Yom Kippur affected, non-kosher steak on Yom Kippur, affected the child. The child had confusions. Because whatever you eat affects the child inside you. The milk that you drink, this is spiritually affecting. That's why it's very, very important what we eat, that we eat kosher, that we eat good things. Even one time can affect, for good or bad. Sometimes for good, like we said, the guy got converted to Judaism because of a little milk, holy milk. That's the power of milk, mother's milk, chalav em. So this is very, very important. Today, of course, not everybody can breastfeed. But Bezat Hashem Dua, when you get married, you know it's important. It's important. Now, in terms of health, we have to understand that milk is not so healthy. First of all, because the milk that we drink is made for calves, not for people. That's why if you drink or eat a lot of dairy, it affects your body. Now, you know what's the difference between a calf and a human being in their growth? Calf, in the first year already, becomes like almost like his father in his strength, abilities, running, walking, doing, after 1 year, even less. But a baby, it takes him at least 3-4 years to be a little bit independent. So when you eat the food, the hormones that is in the cow's milk, changing the structure of the human being. That's why today when we drink so much milk, we are different than before. And today we drink so much milk and we don't drink a mother's milk much. And it's affecting us. That's why it's good to bring it back as much as possible. Mother's milk, very, very good. 2 years, they say in the books, that if a child 2 years drinks only mother's milk, it helps him, his health for the rest of his life to be strong. Now, you can't force it, of course. Sometimes there's no milk, sometimes there's a lot of other issues. But it's good to know that it's a very good thing to do. Now, in terms of the milk itself, it's okay to drink milk. Torah doesn't prohibit it. Torah doesn't say it's not healthy, don't do. But too much of it, a lot of dairy, it's not good, especially for the lungs. And that's another connection that I made with Shavuot, because Rabbi Nachman in Breslov says that Shavuot brings healing to the lungs. If someone keeps the holiday of Shavuot properly, like B'ezrat Hashem, doing the Kiddush properly, going to synagogue and everything, whatever you need to do on Shavuot, staying up all night, reading Tehillim. On Shavuot we need to read Tehillim. It's bringing healing for the lungs. That's what it says. Why lungs? So I thought also that's why we eat dairy on Shavuot, because dairy affects the lungs very much. If a person has lungs problem, it's good to reduce dairy. They will see that they will feel better. So I thought the connection with Shavuot and lungs, because Shavuot brings healing for the lungs. And on Shavuot we eat dairy, because on Shavuot we eat dairy for a good purpose, for a mitzvah. Remembrance to all what happened in Mount Sinai, and it's a minhag. But all year we eat dairy because we just want to enjoy dairy, not because we do it for a mitzvah. That's why it's good in general to reduce dairy. But on Shavuot, yalla, cheesecake, it's okay. Why? Because we do it for a good purpose. In general, anything that you eat for a good purpose, even if it's not healthy, it will become healthy. And I'll give you statistics. Do you know in Israel what's the city that people live the longest life? Bnei Brak. Statistic. Now, Bnei Brak is a super ultra orthodox city. Everybody there is religious. Now, why they have the longest life? Now, if I'm familiar with Bnei Brak very much, I think that Bnei Brak is the most unhealthy city in the world. People there don't really, there are people that think about being healthy, but they don't have time for that. They focus more on spirituality, on Torah, on learning, on praying, on different things, mitzvot. You see the stores there are full of margarine, full of oil, full of people eat white bread, white rice, There's no such a thing, a whole wheat pita in Bnei Brak. Okay? There's no such a thing. Coca-Cola, Fanta, every Shabbat. They give candies on, yeah. How come they live the longest life? So 2 answers for that. First answer, those people have a meaning of life. People that have meaning of life, they're happy. They have why to wake up in the morning. They have a spiritual meaning. The more you're happy, the more you live, the more you're healthy. But there is another reason. There's also a physical reason. Because even if you eat something that is not healthy, but you eat it for a healthy purpose, why do they eat? Oh, there is a Brit Milah. Let's eat. There is a wedding. Let's eat. There is a Shabbat. We need to eat. Shavuot. We need to. They have a spiritual occasion for most of their food. Unhealthy food, but there's a spiritual occasion. They don't eat just for their good feeling, enjoyment. This is egoism. I eat good because I want to enjoy. I don't want to enjoy. I just want to fulfill the mitzvah. We have Shavuot. There's a Shabbat. I need to eat on Shabbat. There's a wedding. You have to eat in the wedding. It's a mitzvah. You understand? So most of their eating somehow connected. Purim, Tu B'Shvat, whatever it is. It's connected with something meaningful. And that's why when we eat dairy on Shavuot, we make eating dairy meaningful. That's why it's not going to ruin anything. Adrabah. That's why I'm very into being healthy, and I think it's very important to keep a good diet. But I think that when you eat and you want to enjoy something that, yeah, it's not according to your diet, but you do it for a spiritual reason, for something meaningful, that's healthy by itself. And that's a good thing to do. And in general, Shavuot, fixing the dairy, we elevate the nitzotzot, the holy sparks that are in the dairy food, which also a work that we need to do. And that's what we do on Shavuot. So today, Baruch Hashem, we spoke a little bit about milk. Maybe I'll tell you a few other secrets that milk has. So we said that milk in general is not very healthy, but spiritually, it is having a spiritual power of kindness. Means there are good, that's why there's good vitamins in milk. There's good things in it, especially spiritually. Now, there's other sgulot, things that you can do with milk that milk can help you with. So, for example, it says that if a person, there is certain diseases that if you drink milk, it's good for that disease. So we said for lungs diseases, it's not very good to drink milk. Even though when you drink milk when you are coughing, it may it relax it. It calms you down. But after that, it's not good because it has a lot of lecha. But there are other things that actually are good for that milk do good. For example, for the skin. I saw in certain books that drinking milk, it's good for your skin. People that have skin diseases, things like that, Adrabah, milk can help them. There's other things that we can use with milk, but Bezrat Hashem, already the time came. Bezrat Hashem, I think the point that we can take from this shiur is a few things. First of all, we know now what's the purpose of not mixing milk and meat together, which is very important. And from there, we're going to also learn for other things. Because there's a lot of mitzvot in the Torah that don't make sense. Yeah? We don't understand why we do that. Why we don't mix linen and wool together. Why we have to send the bird and take the eggs. Shiluach haken. Yeah? There's a lot of very weird mitzvot in the Torah that we don't understand. If you just look at it like that, you don't understand why. Same thing as dairy and meat. What's the problem to mix it? But now, after you understand, okay, we here talking about spiritual powers, about energies, about the upper worlds that affect our world. Now you understand, and from here you will learn to all the others. Each one of the mitzvot has a certain deep spiritual reason. And even if we don't know them, we still need to keep them. So this is just giving us a taste of an understanding that there is deepness in any mitzvah that we do. Bezat Hashem, by keeping the tradition of eating also milk in Shavuot, Bezat Hashem, Kadosh Baruch Hu will bless all of us, will give us nachat, bracha, atzlacha. And don't forget, for the men, Shavuot is very important to stay up all night. Arizal says, whoever stay up all night, he for sure will not die this year. Until next Shavuot, you have a guarantee you will live. Second thing, he says, you would not have a big, chas v'shalom, damage in your life. Financial, health-wise. So this is a promise from Arizal. Staying all night on Shavuot, it's a big thing. Don't forget to do that. Don't sleep even for 1 minute. You can sleep before to get some power. All night, learn Torah, come if you want in our synagogue. Here they have everywhere in the world. Go to that synagogue and learn Torah. If you cannot do it at home. Ladies, if they want to stay, b'chavod. But they don't have to. They get it from their husbands. They get the promise from their husbands. Bezat Hashem, Yiratzon, Shavuot Sameach. So next week is going to be Shavuot. We're not going to have a shiur. But the week after that, Bezat Hashem, B'li Neder, we'll go back to schedule with new topics. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen v'Amen. Chazak u'baruch to you. Chazak u'baruch to Max. To Linda for bringing the food. And Kapara Aleim, Bezat Hashem. Any questions, by the way, about Shavuot, about the holiday, anything you want to know? B'chavod. Yeah.
The reason that you don't mix was because still not clear to me that the bottom overcomes the top.
Yeah.
But that's not. How can I explain it? Can you give me an example? Like it's not.
I just gave you an example with the water. When the hot water is in the bottom, it will cook the cold water that's coming from the top. But when the cold water that is in the bottom, it will not cook. It will cool the.
In other words, it's very bad. For example, there's sexual sins. There's sins that are very, very bad.
Yeah.
And they affect us. So how does this affect me? The fact that you give me the water example doesn't really relate to my life. You know, in other words, it's I don't mix milk and meat because what happens? What happens inside my body? What happens inside my heart?
So he says this rule proves you that why the problem to eat the meat first and then dairy, it's a problem. Because the meat, which symbolize dinim, let's say negative power, overcomes whatever comes from the top, the dairy. And then the chesed, the kindness, is overcome taking over by the din. Okay? And that's a problem in the spiritual world. So you have to understand that we are built in the image of God. What's the image of God? The way how the spiritual world built, that's how we build. Every action that you do in this life affects the upper worlds. That's the secret of the Magen David. I told you that once, right? What's Magen David? It's one triangle that goes up. Means whatever you do here affects the upper worlds. And then whatever you affected the upper worlds come back to you. It means that if I do actions or things, I mix things that's spiritually damaging, that damage come back to me. So, for example, mixing milk and meat together, you are damaging the upper worlds by making the dinim overcome the chasadim. And basically, you give powers to the negative powers. And now they affect you, that impurity comes to you. And you get an impure energy on you for 40 days, according to the Zohar. And whatever you do in those 40 days, it affects you. And if you're going to have children in those 40 days, it's going to affect the children. Milk and, yeah, of course. And how do we know that it says? It says 3 times in the Torah. And it's one of the things that the Torah even doesn't allow you to enjoy. You understand? Let's say someone has a McDonald's and they mix milk and meat. And he tells you, let's be partners. You don't do anything. You're just my partner. Shares. It's a problem. Because you enjoy mixing dairy and meat to that extent.
We're not religious, or we're raised in a non-religious way. They're tainted, they're colored, there's something about them that just isn't right. I can't.
Not everybody, but some of them, yeah. Yeah. This is working only for Jews, by the way. Because a Jew affects the upper world and can make a big damage. He also can make a big fixing. The more you can fix, the more you can damage. If a non-Jew would mix it, it doesn't damage much.
So then this is not, the intermarriage is very bad on a whole bunch of reasons, because you're marrying somebody who has been mixing milk and meats their whole lives. So you're really marrying somebody who's like,
No, intermarriage is a big problem by itself. Without the yeah,
you're looking at the totality of the person. And
yeah, yes. Bezrat Hashem, Hashem Yazor. Yesterday, my wife showed me statistics of intermarriage in Canada and United States, and I was shocked. It's mamash, like she showed me like in other countries and here, and it's mamash a lot. I think we should focus on that a lot. Like all of us, to help other Jews to understand that we need to stay Jewish. The intermarriage killed more Jews than Hitler. you know. Okay.